3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Queen Stage. We're here to spotlight the athletes, stories, and action in women's cycling, giving the sport the attention it deserves. And we're going to do so with the quality, depth, and personality the sport demands.
I'm Rosael Torres-Davis.
I'm Betsy Welch.
I'm Anna Maria Roque.
And I'm Molly Herford. Hello and welcome back to Queen Stage. I'm your host, Molly Herford. Today I'm joined by Rosael Torres-Davis and Anna Maria Roque as we break down stage 7 of the Tour de France Femmes, avec, Zwift. This is the one we've all been waiting for all week, let's be honest. It's Mont Ventoux.
Yes, this is the undisputed highlight of the 2026 Tour. The giant of Provence, the mighty Mont Ventoux, has finally arrived. Today's stage ran 147 kilometers with 3,500 meters of elevation, starting in La Voulte-sur-Rhône and culminating in the legendary barren and windy mountain of Ventoux.
Before we dive into our daily recap, a quick shout out. We're proud to have Bike Tires Direct and SRAM as our presenting sponsors. Their investment in the sport makes this show possible.
Yes, and if you are loving our daily tour coverage, please take a second and make sure that you're subscribed and leave us a review. We only have a couple stages left of this tour, so let's make them count. Give us the 5 stars, please. And of course, we want to hear from you. Send us your burning race questions to info@queenstage.cc or join our amazing WhatsApp community. You're not going to want to miss this weekend's conversations, honestly. It's wild in there. And of course, you can find us on Instagram and Threads at queenstage.cc.
And definitely, you do want to head to our Instagram because we only have 3 musettes left to give away. Our daily giveaway is still going strong thanks to Zwift and Bike Tires Direct. The goods include a pocket-sized electric pump, 2 Bike Tires Direct bidons, 1 very J2K rain wallet, and a Watch the Femmes musette and cap, plus an assortment of stickers.
Entering is easy. Just find the highlight reel for today's stage on Instagram. Drop a comment with Bike Tires Direct and tag 2 of your favorite people. A huge congratulations to yesterday's lucky winner at cars.on.bikes. We'll be reaching out via social media to get your shipping details.
And even if you did not snag the musette in the giveaway, everyone listening can get 10% off at Bike Tires Direct for any tires, not just the ones being raced in the Tour de France Femmes, by using the promo code QueenStage, all one word, at checkout. And that directly supports the podcast as well. So, should we dive into the racing?
Yeah, but real quick, I wasn't here yesterday, so please catch me up on what I missed.
Oof. Good stage yesterday. I mean, I feel like a little bit eclipsed by today, as I feel like the rest of the tour might very well be. But yesterday was super fun to watch. Early on in the race, we saw Pieterse again get those early QOM points and extend her lead. We saw a 3-woman breakaway. Let me see, Katrine Aalerud, Loes Adegeest, and Nikola Nosková. Cofidis, once again, breakaway team of the tour. I'm saying it. They had a 20-second gap they started with. They extended it to 2.5 minutes, but it quickly got whittled down with EF, Movistar, and FDJ Suez really working at the front to catch them back up. The interesting thing was, as that peloton was going for the chase group, Kim Lacourt was dropping off the back. But finally, the chase group got caught, the leaders got caught with around 50 kilometers to go. Celia Géry attacked on the descent with 31 kilometers to go. We suddenly had a new breakaway group with Alyssa Longo-Borghini, Cédrine Kerbal, Puck Pieterse, Sarah Van Dam, Luana Lippert, all leading the chase. They eventually got caught by Rihanna Marcus and Kim Lacourt, who came back into the peloton and through the peloton. And oh my goodness, this was such an exciting finish. 10 kilometers to go. There's only 30 seconds between this lead group and the peloton. The peloton has all of the GC contenders in it. They are all kind of actually surprisingly doing work at the front, but are just not shutting down this chase group or this breakaway group. 4 kilometers to go. Felt like it was 400 meters to go. Kim Lacourt's attacking. Alyssa Longo-Borghini's attacking. Everyone is attacking. They're all just playing these amazing games with each other. The peloton is getting closer and closer. And finally, when it actually was 400 meters to go, There goes Kim LaCourt. She opens up the sprint. Seemed like Puck Peters might get around her, but Kim LaCourt came back, took the win over Cedrine Kerbal, Puck Peters, Sarah Van Dam, Jerry Lippert, Alyssa Longo-Borghini, and Rihanna Marcus. And the peloton was just 26 seconds behind. It was a solid finish. If you watch nothing else, the last 8 minutes are so worth revisiting for just
Yeah, it was
beautiful
so good.
attacks.
Brooke, what do you think of that stage?
I mean, anytime you see someone win on a spare bike, you know someone had a really interesting day.
Oh, I
was gonna
missed
say-
that. So
Yeah.
Kim LaCourt was on a spare bike.
She was, yes. You can tell because if a bike is missing the frame number,
Right, yes.
at some point she had to swap it. So I'm not sure what kind of mechanical she endured, but enough that earlier on in the race, she had to wait for a bike, get herself back into the main group, and then sprint for the finish. So a tremendous effort by her during that stage. I thought it was a good lead up stage to what was going to happen today. We didn't see any major GC shakeups, just a solid day of stage racing, but kind of more like a 1-day race. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I was worried for Roysa just watching her overcook some of those turns on the descent, where I was like, oof, if this is a race that's going to come down to seconds, it can be won in the mountains, but it can certainly be lost on the descents. Thinking about the days ahead, especially on the final day, I was getting a little worried for Royster in yellow there.
Yeah, I was also very impressed with Cedrine Kerbal of EF Education Oatly because she had put in some earlier attacks in that group with LaCourt and others, and she still got second place. She still was able to sprint for it, and I kind of wish she had attacked maybe a little earlier than Kim had. Because who knows, maybe EF could have taken away the win there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's another one who almost doesn't get the credit that she's due because she's always sort of just out of the big names, right? But I mean, she's right up there in the GC. She's not behind by that much, but she's just one that rarely gets the really definitive win that puts her name
She'll
right
get
up
it.
there.
I think she'll get it eventually.
Yeah. But
so should we talk about
wasn't
today?
Gonna get it today.
Wasn't
no,
getting
not
it today.
No.
Yeah, let's talk about today because, oh man, I was so bummed that we got only the amount of coverage that we did. This was a day where, we were going to have so many defining climbs, even before getting to Ventoux. And I wanted to see those. I wanted to see the Col de la Grande Limite, the Colombier. I wanted to see all of it. And yeah, I was bummed that we didn't get it. So before we got to Ventoux and before coverage started, there was a fast and aggressive start. There were repeated attacks. Nothing was allowed to stick for a long time, though. I think everyone was being pretty dogged about Ventoux. Obviously, rightly so. They all knew what was coming. Puck Pieterse cleaned up on the early QM points, which I believe makes her now untouchable in that classification. She said that she was going to target it 2 days ago. She was like, okay, I will officially target this jersey. They came in, their team, Phoenix Premier Tech, came in with the target of getting stage wins. And she was a little coy about going after that jersey. But, after stage 5, she's like, just going to go for it. And it switched from being a secondary goal to a primary goal. And looks like she solidified that goal today. She just needs to finish the race in Nice and she will have that honor. So good on her. Eventually, an 11-rider break escaped around 75 Ks to go. Some earlier moves were shut down, but this one actually managed to stick it and get away. We saw Marianne Vos trying to bridge over to that breakaway, didn't quite make contact, and then eventually got swallowed back in by the chase group behind her. The break did get over.
Question there, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we think Vos did that? Do we think she was just trying to be a satellite rider at the front for PFP? Because surely, or was she just trying to get maybe hopefully a bit of edge heading into Ventoux? Because we know she wasn't going for a stage win. Let's be honest here.
No, she wasn't going to go for a stage win. I think everyone was still holding on hope for PFP or maybe even Femke de Vries, who was sitting in the top 10 for this Melissa bike. So yeah, maybe that was the goal, to be a satellite rider, to have at least some representation up in the front, because those 11 riders, lots of teams were represented. They were not. So let's get a satellite rider in there. That's the best I can estimate there. She didn't make it, so she ended up back in the pack after all. Ruby Roseman-Gannon from Liv Alula Jaco took the next set of QM points on Col de la Suzette. But as we mentioned, Puck was already ahead of her in the competition. And then the break began to split up. It was actually Ruby who didn't want to give up the fight and stayed out in front the longest, hoping maybe to get some advantage on the mountain. I'm not sure, but she definitely she showed a good fighting spirit and got a lot of TV time for her efforts. There was no really any GC moves happening early on. As I mentioned, I think everyone was just waiting for the start of getting into Bedouin and getting to Ventoux. With 20Ks to go, the gap to the breakaway was just 14 seconds. It was just a matter of time that everyone was going to get swapped up. Movistar was doing a tremendous job at the front, protecting their rider in yellow, Marlon Reuser. And then we got into Bedouin and the climbing started. It went quickly, didn't it? It's like, we went in with a big group and people started popping off of the back almost immediately as the GC favorites were coming to the top. There were a couple attacks. Valjeres, the world champion, attacked, but then blew up immediately. She used her one remaining match to make a little bit of a difference and then got spit out from the back. But surprisingly, Pauline van Provaux, this just fell off the back, and so many hearts, not just in France, but across the world, broke in that moment because so many of us held on hope that maybe she had something left in her for, a stage win. Like that, she truly and was completely done. She just didn't have it into her legs this tour, but yet we all had that sliver of hope that maybe she could get away today. Instead, she fell off the back as our likely candidates, our three favorites, got to the front, and it very clearly became a race between the three of them. We had Demi Vollering, Marlon Reuser, and Kasia Niewiadoma-Phinney at the front, showing what they are good at, what they're best at. But it was interesting because there was a cagey game being played between Demi and Marlon. First, we saw Demi doing these little accelerations around the bend, just testing her legs, maybe testing the response of her other two competitors. Nothing really happened. And then as Demi and Marlon are playing with each other, Kasia goes, I'm going to take advantage of this, and attacks. And this was such an interesting moment because I think they were doing the math, and Demi's like, well, I'm 12 seconds behind Marlon. Marlon is like, I need to watch Demi because she's 12 seconds behind me. I have some wiggle room with Kasia here. Kasia was 1:17 down on the GC for Marlon. So she knew, Marlon was like, I can let her get to a minute and still be safe as long as I ride in there. But that didn't happen. Kasia was on another level today. My goodness, she was climbing. The gap just kept going and going and going. And it was very interesting to watch her cadence because her cadence was really quick. She was out of the saddle. She was, full gas. Meanwhile, Marlon and Demi they were grinding. Like for a long time, I was like, is this negative racing? Are they playing a game? What's coming through their their earbuds, But Kasia just kept going, and her gap grew and grew. I think at one point it was close to 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And that's when, even before that, I think at 1:15 is where Reuser got a little, nervous and was like, I need to start riding. And then Demi started working with Reuser. That part I don't quite understand. Those two were kind of trading places. And I think it's because they were just riding at their limit. They were in their easiest gears, just grinding it out, while Kasia found another level of motivation today. And so Kasia kept going. Reuser just looked awful. Demi, I wasn't sure what she was doing until we got to where Kasia crosses the line in first. Tremendous ride by her, and the clock starts ticking. And suddenly Demi's like, I gotta go. And she's like, bye, Marlon. I'm going to try and minimize the damage here. Attacks and manages to get across the line. I think it was 1:16 behind Kasia. Reuser, meanwhile, is getting caught by the chasers. It's Elisa Longo-Borghini who passes Reuser in her attempt to make it to the line with as little damage as possible. She ends up crossing the line at 1:42 down from Kasia. Kasia, as I said, another level today. No one could touch her. Demi and Marlon may have hurt themselves a little bit with this game that they were playing. And perhaps they underestimated Kasia. Kasia has a reputation of going early. Maybe they thought this was another early attack. Because to be fair, she did go quite early. Knowing that there was headwind up ahead, they were gambling and they gambled wrongly today. So the new GC is that Kasia is in yellow. Demi Vollering is behind her in second place with 15 seconds down. And now 39 seconds down is Marlen Reusser. So we had a big shakeup today. Big thing also is that Kasia Niewiadoma-Phinney has won the Tour before in 2024, but she'd never won a stage. Today she got her first stage win, and what a win that was. It was a tremendous ride. She was an absolute queen today. A queen on the queen stage.
Yes, it was spectacular. The crowds must have been so wild because she's so loved, and she had a grin in her face, but I think she was also smiling a little bit, knowing that she had the yellow jersey at one point. It was beautiful.
She said that at one point she looked to the side of the road and saw her parents, who had made a surprise visit to Ventoux. Her dad was crying, and Kasia just found another gear and was like, I need to go. I need to do this.
Get out of here.
Isn't
oh my
that
God,
so
now
cute?
I'm crying.
Get out of here. Yes, I would also be so freaking happy if somebody surprised me like that. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a beautiful day. We heard so many stories about everything.
Yeah. Mont Ventoux is such an icon, and everyone has a Ventoux story. Everyone that's been there has one. And we some highlights were that Justine Hakire proposed to her now fiance on the mountain.
Mm-hmm. In June, yes.
Yeah, young Demi Vollering and young Pieterse rode it when they were, just up and comers. Like, everyone has some sort of Ventoux story, and it was just so cute.
I like the suggestion that Puck Pieterse was an up and comer when she was 10 years old, because she absolutely was.
She wrote this at 10 years old on a mountain bike. She came out 2 days ago saying, hey, I wrote this when I was 10. My time was 1:58. My aim is to best that. Now, I have yet to see the Strava, but I'm pretty confident that she beat her record from when she was 10 years old.
Also, a little foreshadowing maybe, because she posted a photo of her at the top of Mont Ventoux, and she's sporting a red and black helmet, and I think her bike also had some red in it. And then she rode today in the polka dot jersey that of course has the color red as well. So it's all very cute.
Yeah, I think the math was done, and she has secured the polka dot, so she will continue riding it, and she's now free to go for that stage win that she is hunting. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm putting her down as a favorite for the final stage.
I can see that one. Yeah.
Shall we quickly go over the jersey standings and then really dive into the stories of the day? Okay, so in yellow, as mentioned, we have Kasia Niewiadoma-Phinney from Canyon-SRAM. Pieterse in the polka dots. She's from Phoenix Premier Tech. We have Lorena Wiebes from SD Works still in the points jersey. And is that secured yet? It's got to be pretty close. She has a very good lead on
she
Kim
has
LaCourt.
100. She has 147 points, and Kim has 89. So I think it's pretty safe.
It's pretty safe. I haven't done crunched the numbers on how many points are left, but yeah, she has a tremendous lead in that competition. And then the youth competition, by a very strong support rider for Kasia Niewiadoma-Phinney, is Antonia Niedermeyer. She did a great job again today. That Canyon-SRAM is having such a great tour. It's their
10th place overall.
Yeah, it's her 10-year anniversary in the peloton. Of course, Canyon-SRAM is such a celebrated team for being one of the first to be a standalone women's program and doing it right from the onset and having some of the best kits I've ever seen in cycling. So, yeah, good on Canyon-SRAM for having such a tremendously successful tour already, and there's 2 days left to go.
Speaking of successful teams, I hadn't actually really been looking at the team competition or the team jersey until today. I just glanced at it and realized UAE Team Lamad is winning it by 32 minutes, but also they have 3 riders in the top 10. So even though that team feels like it's had a very dramatic, almost difficult tour, they're kind of crushing.
So that's Elisa Longoborghini, Paula Blasi, and who's the third?
Dominika Ludarczyk.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Is Marlen Reusser staying in Movistar for next year?
Don't know. I haven't heard to the contrary, but that would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Paula Blasi and Marlen Reusser will be teammates next year, and I'd like to see how that goes.
I gotta be honest with you. I was really rooting for Marlen Reusser today.
I know.
No, she was my
Same.
pick yesterday, actually. Yeah.
She has never won a Grand Tour. She's come very close, has never been able to make it all click. And she's had the worst of luck, at the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, with an injury and an illness. And I really wanted her to succeed. And she looked so rough towards the end of that climb. I kept thinking, oh, it'll flatten out here and she'll come back, or they'll start working any minute now, and it just
Any minute,
didn't
any
happen.
minute. I mean, honestly, the WhatsApp chat was so funny because we really were, even when it was 2K to go, we're all like, could they come back? And it's like, no, they can't come back. That's ridiculous. But
I do wonder though about Demi. She found that the little bit left in the tank at the end to get herself into second place.
I'm actually mad
what was
about
that.
That was, you'd have to bleep everything I just said if I actually said it. I was actually genuinely irritated by that because I was like, where was that move 10 minutes ago? Like
maybe she didn't have it 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, maybe it was just that finish, like seeing the finish and having more of the fans and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, all I could think was if she had had that jump, even with like 5K to go, and Marlon had anything left in the tank to be able to like stay on her wheel for it, then maybe they could have had the drive to catch her. And I think we all agree that we love Kasia. This is like, we are so excited for her. She was definitely like the heart pick for the tour, all that. But yeah, I think we also... Honestly, there were so many riders that I want to win this tour that it's very hard.
Yeah. Also, you know what? My heart is a little broken that I feel like so many stages have been dominated by big names in a way. We only had one stage won by like somebody we just got to know this year, Sigrid Hoxet. Yeah. I feel like this is being raced differently. They're not leaving anything to the last one or two stages.
You say that, but it is far from over.
Well, but are stages 8 and 9 hard enough for like Demi or Rooster, if she feels better, to take back time?
The last stage that has the potential anyway, depending on how everyone rides, to be quite the stage. A lot of firework potential on that stage. Tomorrow's stage is a big question mark. Molly, obviously you have strong opinions about this long stage, and we'll talk about this more in a second. But yeah, I don't think it's over yet. But
oh, absolutely not. No. And I mean, time bonuses, all that. We are only 15 seconds and 39 seconds. Like, I think we can argue it's down to those 3 riders at this point, unless something happens. But 15 seconds is really nothing if you win a stage and you get the 10-second time bonus, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, we saw this happen in 2024. It's taken up to be yet another blockbuster. I'm so excited. I hope we're going to see another like time crunching finale as we did in 2024, and the whole top 10 is sitting in like 4 minutes, I think, all within 4 minutes. So yeah, this is far from a done deal. I do agree that I think it's going to be from the leading 3, but there's 2 stages left, and they designed it in a way that leaves the door open.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, I feel like now that she won the stage, it sounds crazy, but I do feel like we hadn't talked that much about Kasia this whole tour. I feel like but I think that's actually, she's been playing it so smart, right? We only really saw her in that one final sprint situation that like, okay, did not go as maybe she hoped. Okay, she went a little early on that one, I will say, but clearly the going early works. But do we think it was her tactic this whole time to actually just kind of be this sort of, I'm just going to sit in the group and not make any waves? Or has she actually been trying and it's just that we haven't really been paying that much attention to her for some reason?
I think stage 5 was the first real test of the climbers and the climbing legs. And so that's when we saw her. That's when we saw Royce, that's Demi. So that was kind of a preview of what was to come. And I think before that, there was no need for her to waste any matches. So yeah, I think now we're here. The race is almost at its peak, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of those riders. Although, tomorrow we're going to see a lot of the teams and maybe not so much of those riders. But yeah, I think she played it really smart. We didn't know what kind of fitness she would have coming into this. We hadn't seen much of her. She was a big question mark. Like, I think how many of us picked her? None of us picked her as the overall winner of the tour. I think we all went with Demi because that's who we've seen. She's been super strong, has already got a Grand Tour win under her belt this year. So yeah, I think this was a very calculated preparation for her. And she's been speaking about how much time and effort went into this race. And today's that ride was straight up iconic. We've never seen the women's peloton, the World Tour, do this southern climb, the southern ascent of Mont Ventoux via Bedouin. So yeah, that was an historic moment for her. And
Also,
to take your
I
first
just
win,
I took a quick look at her stats for this year for Kasia Niewiadoma, and this is her first win of the year because so far her podiums have been second and third places. She had second at Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, second at Strade Bianche-Donne, third place at some stages in the Tour de Suisse or the general classification of the Tour de Suisse, and and the third stage on stage 5 of this year's tour, and winning today. So first win of the year for Kasia.
I mean, that's
Not a
kind of
bad
her
one to
MO,
do.
isn't it? Her
Yeah.
MO is like to go these long stretches without getting the top
Yeah.
step, and then
But I
boom,
think that's why-
winning Amstel, or boom, winning the Tour.
Yeah.
And today, what a win. If you're going to win a race, like this one is it.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah. I admit, actually, like with her doing the commentary during the Tour de France with her husband, Taylor Phinney, I actually kind of like that almost like shifted who she was in my brain. And I was almost sort of thinking towards like, wait, is she kind of thinking about what's next for her, like after racing? But clearly not. It is just, it's rare that a rider can kind of balance that sort of like commentary and like doing a lot more in social media and stuff like that and actually still be a boss racer. I feel like it's tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky.
Other team shout out, Movie Star. Oh my God. Like they set up Reusser so well today. The
They did.
teamwork. Oh,
Yeah, Liana
Like, I think-
Lippert, who did a great job earlier.
Of course, she has the experience of having raced with Annemiek van Vleuten at this
Yes.
very race, serving
Mhm.
as that right-hand woman, as she is again during this tour. And I think they did a phenomenal job. The way they set her up all the way into the early slopes of Ventoux was extremely beautifully executed. And it's always a bummer, right? Because we saw this early in the race with teamwork being done and then not quite being able to finish at the end. And that's always so heartbreaking for the team. But there's no doubt about it. The team and Reusser gave everything they had today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think, and okay, actually, I'm not sure about this. I was going to ask, do you think it seems that Movie Star is more or was working really well together and has been really coordinated and stuff because Marlon is in the yellow jersey? Or are they actually like just because she happens to be in yellow? So like you're noticing Movie Star around her more just visually? Or are they actually working better together because their leader has the yellow jersey and that almost changes like the team vibe? Because I feel like Movie Star has not had like the most phenomenal seasons recently. So this has to be like just such a psychological boost, right?
For sure. I think
Yeah.
anytime a team gets the yellow jersey, it just gives them that extra level of motivation, of something to fight for. Because, yeah, we mentioned this a lot, like cycling, only one person gets to wear the yellow, but it takes the entire team to get there. You know, like Kasia Niewiadoma needed her team to protect her and to set her up today. And yeah, it's not something you win on your own.
Yeah, and also Reusser is their first real GC leader since Annemiek van Vleuten, right?
Yeah. I always thought Liana Lippert had the potential, but they never quite set her up
Yeah.
as one.
Yeah, Lippert is a great one-day classic. She does great in the Ardennes, but maybe doesn't quite have it for GC. But maybe that can change. But not with Blasi joining that team next year. We'll see. But also, yeah, I'm a little, I don't know. Let's not talk more about Blasi. Next.
Next. Yeah,
Next.
we'll give talking about UAE a pass here.
Yes.
What is Visma Lisa Bike going to do for the next two stages? Because but, like when I tell everyone listening that the WhatsApp chat like just cracked when PFP cracked on that climb, everyone was so sad. And all I could think of is I've been rewatching Ted Lasso and season 1, the final episode, the joke is like, it's the hope that kills. And I feel like I would say that is
Yes.
how every Visma Lisa Bike fan feels about this tour. Even as she got dropped and then she started just coming back a tiny bit, the commentators were like, she has a plan. She was just going to ride her own pace. She's going to come back through. It's definitely going to happen. And we're all like, yeah, it's going to happen. And then it didn't happen.
There's something beautiful about how everyone just universally cheers for Pauline. And I think part of that also comes just from how extremely successful she's been across every discipline. This woman knows how to peak better than any other rider. So you just expect her. Like, obviously, we haven't seen her for a couple months. She is going to peak. Okay, well, she hasn't peaked today, but maybe tomorrow. Okay, well, maybe tomorrow. And I think we just hold on to this hope that we're almost not allowing her to have a bad day. We're almost like not allowing her to have bad legs. And it happens even to her, as we are now seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens to the best.
It's true. Yeah, I guess we've just never seen her, and fail is not the right word. She's still doing totally fine. But we've never seen her not accomplish the thing that she was like trying to do over and over and over again, like in the course of several days, right? Same with the time trial. She's like looking, like just serious face at the start. The commentators are like, we have never seen a face like this before in our lives. This is going to be the greatest ride of all time. And then it wasn't. The next day, they're like, she's in the mix.
True. The commentators were so unapologetically biased and in favor in pulling, like they were just like, look at that face. This is the face of a rider in the zone. And then it was like, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, we just don't expect it. And I will say, you say she's not failing, but if you're a Visma bike, you're looking at this tour as a bit of a failure. You haven't gotten a stage win. You're not competitive in the GC. The best thing you can say is that you got close to a time trial win. That's it.
Yeah, not even in the top 10. Yeah, I'm like, how far down do I have to go to get to our
top
first?
14.
Whew.
Yeah. Oh, well, Femke still?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's PFP in 14th. That is their top GC rider is 14 and a half minutes back.
Oof.
Yeah.
Big oof.
I mean, it's all right. It happens.
You say that, but I have to push back on that because this is one of the most well-funded, most professional teams in the sport. For them, this is not acceptable. And they'll be wanting more, and they want better results next year for sure.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think that it's not that, like, what are the mistakes that they have been making? I don't think it's mistakes that have been completely in their control. Like if somebody just doesn't have the legs that day, like for example, today I was getting worried that Marlon Reusser was going to end up without water again in the last kilometers of the race, because before the feed zones got cut out, taken away, we saw other riders in that group getting stuff, and it's like, where's Movistar? Who's gonna give her a bottle? Like, and I don't know how that got resolved. Like, maybe she ended up getting it anyway. But those are mistakes that you can fix. Like we haven't seen PFP having mechanicals, having crashes and being left unattended, or not drinking enough water and then suffering symptoms of that. So yeah, I mean, yes, they have all this money that allows them to get the top nutritionists and trainers. So I'm hoping that they are just looking at the live data and trying to figure out, what is happening there. If it's just like she's having a really bad week, or if just the race has just it just keeps changing every year. And
I think but I think the fact that they haven't had any major issues and still haven't pulled off a stage win, or even have they been in the top? Oh, Voss was in the top 3 once, I believe, right?
Yeah,
that's currently it.
I'm saying like it hasn't been a good tour for them. And someone we haven't spoken about yet, and that I should have mentioned that earlier at the start of the stage. It was announced that Anne van der Breggen wasn't going to start. Another kind of big disappointment for a team that we just expect more of. She apparently hadn't been feeling well all week, and they decided to just pull the plug today before doing any more damage on a stage like today. Also a bummer. Like, we haven't seen that team be competitive in Grand Tours, truly competitive. Like, they had little moments of brilliance from Anne van der Breggen, but moments where we're like, oh, is she back? But no. And yeah, we really haven't seen them being really competitive since the end of 2024, when they lost Demi, they lost Niamh Fisher-Black, they lost Marlon Reusser, and they're highly competitive in the sprinting. In the one days, they've got Lotte, they've got Wiebes, but the stage racing, it's just not clicking for them.
Ooh, speaking of sprinters, we didn't also note this. Charlotte Kool was over the time limit today, so she's out now, which is going to be interesting if Pieterse is going to go for any stage wins. She is now down one of the best riders on that team.
Not
That's gonna
surprising,
shake.
though, is it?
Not surprising, but you know what? Actually, a little surprising for me, I would say, because I would have expected her to be. I'm curious how far out of the time limit she was.
Mm.
And just a bummer because she would have been probably quite helpful tomorrow,
Yeah,
certainly, because
no,
it's
for
still
sure.
another flat stage. So I
It
would have
was,
expected her to just like bury herself to try to stay in.
and I'm sure she
Sure,
tried.
she did.
It was funny seeing Lorena Vivas come through line. She made it look so easy, just spinning to the top of Ventoux. They had to hold off until for the green jersey podium ceremony until she was there, obviously. So they were just waiting for her to come across the line, and she came across the
Yeah.
line, all smiles, happy to be there. She does a tremendously good job as a sprinter to still be there. Like she was there up until the Ventoux started. She made
Yeah.
it
So
through the other climbs just fine.
speaking of that, I guess this it brings a concern up to me because we've seen this happen sometimes in the Giro or the men's Giro d'Italia and the men's Vuelta España, that when the organizers continue to make these grand tours not very sprinter friendly, that eventually they end up not attracting the top sprinters
Mm.
of the game. So I worry that, what if next year, like Charlotta Cool, like decides not to go, or Elisa Balsamo decides not to go because it's just not worth it because there haven't been enough breakaway chances the sprinters can hop on, or Lorena Wiebes is too dominant, and if there's two sprint stages, she's gonna win them. But anyway, that's just a little concern there, but nothing crazy because we still just have to see the announcement of the route for next year.
Yeah, and that'll be in the fall. But shall we move on real quick with the what tire won today, presented by Bike Tires
Yes.
Direct? Since today's winner was Kasia Niewiadoma-Phinney from Canyon-SRAM, they are a Swalby sponsored team, and so she was on a Pro One tire. These are excellent tires, and they come in a variety of different sizes. I'm currently running a 38 on a all-road bike, and if you want to get one of those tires with a little discount, go to Bike Tires Direct and use our discount code QueenStage, all lowercase, all one word.
Love it. Love it. And while we're chatting about awesome sponsors, let's talk about our stat of the day presented by SRAM. So now that the tour has entered the serious terrain, it's time to introduce our new segment, Stat of the Day. And again, presented by SRAM, who are celebrating 10 years of powering the women's peloton. So today's stage, we've mentioned Puck Pieterse secured the QOM, the Queen of the Mountains jersey. She has just been repeatedly going for those early climbs, just attacking, taking the maximum points, reaching the top first on 13 of the 29 categorized climbs up to stage 7. I feel like she's going to have to go for at least one more just so it's not the unlucky 13. But she doesn't need to because her aggressive climbing has earned her 50 points in the Queen of the Mountain standings, and that makes her the first rider in Tour de France Femmes history to cross the 50-point milestone in the polka dot jersey classification. Well done, Puck.
Yeah,
For
well done,
sure.
Puck.
Also, she strikes me as someone who would think 13 is lucky. Don't you think so?
True.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the vibe. I hope they give her beer instead of champagne for that jersey at some point, because my favorite thing is watching Puck chug whatever she is handed.
Yes, she's a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. All
Okay,
right,
should we do our...
Yeah, should I hop into the rider deep dive of today?
Let's do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so today we selected the 6th place finisher of today's stage, who is standing 5th place in the general classification, Antonia Niedermeyer, who's a very gifted rider and time trial specialist racing for Canyon-SRAM. So she's a Pisces. She has a February 20th birthday, and she was born and raised in Germany. She's been contracted with Canyon-SRAM Racing through 2028, and yes, she is a future possibly GC contender. She's a time trialist. She's a climber. So pretty well-rounded rider right there. Her background includes skiing and mountaineering and also being a mountain runner. She had her first breakthrough win at 20 years old, where she executed a 25-kilometer solo breakaway on stage 5 of the 2023 Giro d'Italia Woman. And yeah, that was her first world tour victory. Then she claimed the under 23 individual time trial at the World Championships in Glasgow in 2023 and in 2024 in Zurich. Then let's see, she won the white jersey at the 2025 Giro d'Italia. That was last year. And she finished second overall at this year's Giro d'Italia behind Demi Vollering. Let's
Not
see
bad.
what
Not
else,
bad.
right? Not bad at all. And unlike many other riders, she did not grow in the traditional road cycling pipeline. And like I mentioned before, she's into skiing, mountaineering, and all kinds of things. She's also an equestrian at heart. She loves riding horses. And one of her goals is to make enough money one day as a professional racer that she can buy her own horse. And I would love to know if she has already achieved that or if she's like getting close. And yes,
Like, can you imagine that 5 years ago at the women's peloton? They're like, I just want to make enough money to maybe pay my rent. And now
Yeah.
we're talking about buying horses. We've
She
come a
wants
long
to-
way, baby.
I mean, before I knew what rent was, I also wanted to buy a horse when I was a kid. You know, I was all into little ponies. And I wanted a pony, let's be honest. That's what I wanted. But anyway, the last thing I'll say about her, that rooted in her Bavarian alpine upbringing, her personal motto is the best view comes after the hardest climbs. So that's very beautiful. I think now that I got to know her a little better, now I feel like she even has even more GC potential. And also, like, what a great domestique for Kasia, right?
Oh, such a
Yeah,
great
fifth
domestique.
place is very helpful when you're in first place, for sure.
Yes, amazing. Yes.
And good for the development of Canyon-SRAM as well, to have that in the pipeline.
I was just going to
Definitely.
say, Canyon-SRAM, like, we don't give them enough credit, but they do so well picking young talent and really developing those younger riders. And I feel like they haven't lost that many, if that makes sense. Like, this is a sport where you often do see young riders have great starts and then either burn out, deal with like red S or that kind of stuff, and ultimately like have to leave the sport. But Canyon-SRAM, I think, has actually done a pretty solid job with rider development from young riders.
Yeah, I remember on
and they have
the
that development
first
team too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right. And and don't they work also with Zwift
with
and
the
like
academy.
the talent and the Zwift Academy stuff, which is great. But also remember earlier on the earlier episodes of this podcast coverage of the tour, we were wondering if with Kasia leaving Canyon-SRAM, if there would be any bad blood in the team. And I think we now have it confirmed that there is no bad blood. They're all so happy that she won today. And yeah, hopefully she can keep the yellow jersey.
That hasn't been confirmed yet, that Kasia.
Well,
is
like
leaving.
just I mean confirmed just by what I've observed on the TV. Oh, you mean confirmed that she's leaving the team?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yes, I don't know about that, but those are the rumors.
Yeah, so we were actually in our Tour de France prediction episode, we did talk about like would the team be supporting her if she was leaving, or would they start kind of shifting over to maybe a little bit more focus on Antonia Niedermayer? But clearly they've been capable of doing both, basically. And actually, Antonia's 5th place right now is almost more impressive in a way because the team is working for Kasia, not for Antonia necessarily. Like, I'm sure it's helpful to have the team out there, but they're not purposefully working just for her, right? They're working for their actual GC leader, and they're managing both. Like, that's solid.
Yeah, I'm imagining they're kind of working for both, in the process, in terms of make sure they get bottles and they're fed and all that stuff. It should be very interesting next year if indeed Kasia is leaving and goes to Little Trek, I believe, and Paula Blasi, the movie star. Like, we're gonna see a whole new shakeup of the GC and GC leaders, which should be very interesting.
Okay, should we talk about some of these questions of the day from the WhatsApp group?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Brooke, do you want to start it off?
Yeah, our first question is that yesterday a lot of people in the chat were asking and talking about the number of women who are in the professional peloton that have PhDs, that have other careers, like Marlon Royce, for example. She's a medical doctor. Rosa Closer has a medical degree or medical studies as well. And the question was, how does it shift their perspective on racing? And also that they wanted us to explain why so many of them have these other jobs and the educational and university degrees.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
First and foremost, money. It has historically been pretty much impossible to make a living as a professional woman cyclist. So a lot of them basically have had to pursue these parallel paths. And even now, there are many, many women who still are racing professionally, but still have to have jobs that pay the rent. As to why so many of them go into like PhD programs and stuff, though, I think that might just be like a type A, women can do it all kind of thing, unless you two have any other thoughts on
Yeah.
that.
No, I think it's that. It's type A, being overachievers. Maybe there's a lot of those personalities there. But also, I think for a long time, the pipeline to becoming a professional racer with an actual decent salary was not completely clear or wasn't even there yet. So, because these riders finished those degrees years ago. Um, and so I think at the time, probably depending how young they are, probably their parents are telling them like cycling is not a real job, like get a degree as a backup, which is always smart. We hear that a lot also from the men as well. Um, but yeah, like basically like having no guarantee that this is gonna pay off in the future. So let me get maybe my degree at the same time. And also a lot of them will have degrees that have things to do with science, and it can help a lot understanding training, statistics, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was interesting today, they were talking about Marlon Reusser in particular and how she was remarkably calm about the yellow jersey and having it. And I think it was Anne McCrossan who was joking about, we often say it's not life or death. Like, this is just a bike race. And if there's actually one rider that genuinely can have that perspective, it is Marlon Reusser, right? Like, I think any day that she's out there, she can have that mental conversation with herself of just like, well, someone didn't die on my watch today, or like,
Yeah.
at least I don't need to worry about someone dying. I'm just here pedaling my bike. And I'm actually kind of of two minds whether I love that for her or not.
I mean, it's just bike racing, right? Like, ultimately, she's seen the other side. Like, it is
Yeah.
just bike racing. She's
But I
like,
think
all
that
I
must
have to do
help.
today is ride my bike. I'm not
Yeah.
responsible for anyone's life except for my own.
Yeah, and I think that does help a lot to put things in perspective. No, I think it helps a lot, yes.
I do kind of have like a bit of a shift in that though, because I always think back. There's one interview with Adam Meyerson, cyclocross legend, we'll say. And I remember he had just like lost the race by like a tiny bit and he was in tears and he just goes, "It's just stupid bike racing, but it's everything." And I love when a rider has that mentality. There's just something about that just like where like, yeah, it's everything. And I think sometimes when a rider can have they can actually have too much perspective, like, oh, it's actually like not that big of a deal. But what if it was? Like, could it be everything?
Speaking of perspective, I feel like there's been a change in Marlon Reusser. Like, even a couple years ago when she got a stage win here, still riding for SD Works, and she was just so flat in her interview. And now she's quite animated. She's kind of open. She feels more lighthearted. Like she's comfortable. She's happy at movie star, and just yes, there has been change in her demeanor anyway, and the way she approaches bike racing. And maybe for her, if you're able to have fun with it and not take it easy, obviously, because nothing about today's stage was easy. It just brings out another side in her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The other thing, I mean,
Mhm.
a lot of women grew up not knowing that this was going to be a profession for them, that this was on offer. I remember a while, like a decade ago now, Marianne Vos used to have this tagline on her social media that said "full-time hobby cyclist," and that rubbed me the wrong way so hard. Because if there's been one role model that can show younger generations that you can be a professional bike racer, it's Marianne Vos. And to call herself a hobby cyclist, it used to really bug me. I don't think that's still. I should check. It's no longer on her socials, I don't think. Because I also remember interviewing Celine Carmen del Alvarado, a cyclocrosser, and she was like, "Yeah, I've always grown up knowing that you can be a professional bike racer as a woman, and our generation certainly didn't have that."
Yeah, crazy.
No, I was actually going to suggest, like, in North America, I stayed in college and went for my master's for a year and a half so I could stay in cycling, actually, because there was no, like, next step after collegiate. So yeah,
Yeah. No, there's a
that's
lot
why
of
I almost got
reasons.
mine.
Yeah.
Also, it's just hard. Like I remember I stopped playing soccer when I started college because I knew how well I wanted to do in my degree, and I just knew that I could not do both really well. And I hate like doing things half-ass.
Same. I chose to not take a full ride scholarship to go to a different school where they had the educational programming that I wanted to pursue, rather than go to a school that didn't have the degrees I wanted and to play sports. So, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody else in the chat had a question about what is the virtual yellow jersey? Who wants to explain that one, Molly?
Rook, take it away. That
Pun.
was me pointing up.
Yeah. So the virtual yellow jersey is simply the race lead as it stands on the road in that moment. So as you're watching it, things are changing constantly. Like the numbers are changing, the bonus seconds, the time. As a reminder, the general classification is the overall time of the entire race from start of stage one to the very end. And so that's constantly changing with every minute that passes. So today, as we saw, when a rider starts, say, a minute 17 behind the race leader, and then she gets 3 minutes, a 3 minute lead on that race leader, she now has written herself into what's called the virtual lead, because if the race were to stop right then and there in that particular moment, she'd gone ahead because the overall time had changed. And so when we get to this part in stage racing, it becomes incredibly important. There's live calculations happening on the rider's time at every time gap, every moment in the race. People are calculating where is she in relation to the race leader. Did I do that? Does that make sense? It's a
Yeah.
game of time. So the clock is ticking the entire time. It starts ticking the moment they start, and then it stops at the end of the day, obviously at the end of the stage, but then it continues at the start of the next stage, and it's constantly changing with every minute that passes.
Yeah. Thank you. No, you explained that really well.
So should we go into stage preview here?
Let's do it.
Yes, Molly, do you want to tell us what do we have in store for tomorrow's stage 8?
Yes, I do. So tomorrow is the longest stage that we've ever seen in the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. So it's actually going to be one of the longest stages that the Women's World Tour has ever raced, because typically women's races are required to be under 160 kilometers, and tomorrow's stage is 173 kilometers. So they would have actually had to get special like allowances to have it. So it's going to be really interesting. I mean, between the heat, the distance, this is a relatively flat stage. I'm going to call it lumpy though, because there are 4 categorized climbs. They're all Cat 4 climbs, but nevertheless, the first half of the stage goes just kind of gently uphill. The first 2 climbs of the day come in the first 76 kilometers, with the Col de Tout Or being the biggest climb of that chunk, and actually the biggest climb of the day, but it's only 6.4 kilometers at 3.1%. So we're not talking about any major climbs, which should be nice because everyone's legs are going to be wrecked from Ventoux.
Yeah,
Then we
like
have,
those 10% grades at Ventoux. My goodness, crazy.
seriously, yeah, nothing is over 5.4% tomorrow. So that will be definitely a major relief. And a lot of descending in the back half of tomorrow's stage. So that could make for some real speedy breakaways, some real speedy chases. I think we can all expect the peloton to get pretty broken up, because the amount of recovery that riders need to do after today, even if you did kind of chill out on Ventoux like Weebus did, it still hurt. There's no way that you got up that without it just wrecking you. So I think we could definitely see fireworks tomorrow, and it's going to be a long stage. And actually, do either of you know, are they going to show the entire stage? Because I thought they were, but I'm looking at the Flow Bikes schedule, which has been wrong a lot of days, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And it's saying it's not showing anything till 9:30 in the morning Eastern time, which would be on par with all of the other shortened stage viewings that we've had. But it might also be wildly inaccurate. Look, I'm going to throw Flo under the bus for a hot second here. Like, yes, they've been showing it, but they have not really put it on the front page. The top stories on the front page of Flow Bikes are like all about the men's peloton. They don't actually have it in like their ticker right now, like on the schedule that's at the top of the screen, which seems ridiculous. I have to go on the hunt for it every time I'm trying to get to it. I'm just incredibly frustrated by how much they've minimized this race on the site, even though I cannot imagine that, I'm sorry, apologies to BMX if you love BMX, I cannot imagine that US BMX national championships are getting the viewership that the Tour de France Femmes is getting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my
That is
soapbox for
wild.
the day.
No,
I mean,
it's wild.
Molly,
Yeah.
tell us why you are hopeful about tomorrow's stage. We already
I'm
talked
hopeful.
about this in a previous episode, so you can be short, but you have an interesting take on the longest stage of the tour.
I just think it could be really interesting as a GC battle. I think we could see a lot of movement in it. I think it's going to push a lot of teams because it is so long, and we are already down to only 127 riders. Like I say, you see riders like Charlotte Kool that are no longer in it. When we talk about races of attrition, this is going to be one. And I think with the GC so close, I think there could be some real surprise moves that I am really hoping for. Although, what do you two think? Are we going to have another breakaway day, or are the GC leaders just going to be unwilling to allow breaks to do any real damage?
No, I think we have two GC stages. I mean, it's been a GC stage since stage 5. It feels to me.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think it's going to change, especially because Niewiadoma's gap is only 15 seconds.
Yeah, I think it has the potential of being, at least in the beginning, a rather uneventful stage, because you're going to have the biggest teams in the peloton controlling everything, because no one wants to let the GC or a GC shakeup happen. I think what could very likely happen is we're going to see a breakaway of a bunch of riders that are absolutely no contenders for the overall classification. They're going to let them go up the road, and the rest pedal it out, try to reserve their stores and their energy for the final stage, which will be a very challenging, very hard stage. So I want to be wrong. I want to be eating my words tomorrow and say, this is the most exciting stage I've watched in the tour yet. I would love for that to happen. Realistically, I don't think it will.
I'm not gonna disagree with you, because I have looked at the stage profile for this, like for the last stage, Nice to Nice, again, and my God, is that going to be a hard stage? So, okay, I could see saving firepower for that.
We'll see.
Okay,
well, predictions. Do we have predictions for a winner tomorrow?
I'm going to say we're going to see a new name winning the stage. Someone that hasn't already won a stage this Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. I would like to see, someone that we like, someone like a Corbal, someone that we've been wanting to get a stage win and hasn't won one yet this year. But I think we're going to see someone crossing the line first that hasn't already won a stage this year.
Just going to go with the hope that kills, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot all the way.
No,
she's coming back. It's happening.
Okay, here. Do you think she's going to start tomorrow?
Oh, I was going to ask that too. It's a good question. I mean, she's still 14. Like,
yeah,
it's tricky because, I think she will, from like a national pride French perspective. Like finishing in Nice, those crowds are going to be, they want to see her. I think the team will be like, no, you've got to finish.
Yeah, I think unless she is going physically through something bad, like that maybe not dropping out would be detrimental for her health or whatever, then maybe she should drop out. But if it's just that everybody else has better legs and she's actually all right, I think she should finish if she can. And maybe, try to set up one of her teammates, like Marion Buñuel, for a win or something like that.
Roselle, who's your pick for tomorrow?
No, I mean, like you, I would also like to see just a completely new name, That's something that I find really exciting about these Grand Tours, is that we get to learn about so many of these racers that we have never heard of. And I feel like we haven't had the same opportunity this time around. So I'm just going to throw in one of my favorites this year would be Rosa Closer. She's in 40th place, almost an hour down. So Rosa.
But we know she can do super long efforts. So maybe all that gravel might actually pay off for a long
I'm
stage.
actually shocked. I didn't know that she just got into cycling like 5 years ago. That is wild. That is so wild. And that she's doing so well in this tour. Like, that's not terrible. Like, she's only 40th place in the GC on a team that won today's stage.
Well, and it's not her job to be in the GC.
No, it's not. It's not her job, but I'm saying, like, it's not bad at all for her first Grand Tour.
I love that she got into cycling as a way to distract her from her studies. Like, I'm not busy enough studying. Let's add some light cycling for a balance in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
to
then
come
goes
back to
ahead
our
and wins
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, why they get PhDs. It's actually the other way around. Yeah, they get PhDs and they start cycling because of the PhD.
Exactly.
Honestly, just, the more education you can get, the better, more rounded human being you are. And I just, I've never regretted any of the, like, I have a degree in fashion design that I'm not using. I do not regret it. It's been really helpful in so many other ways in life. And it allowed me to have a chapter in the fashion industry for some time. So maybe they see it that way, where in the future they'll still have a lot of opportunities. And also that you don't have to put your identity in just one box. You can realize that your identity, like for now, for the next 10 years, I'm going to be a bike racer. And then I can change that and I can be anything else because I'm prepared for it because I've done it before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up there with our coverage of Stage 7 here on the Queen Stage Women's Cycling Podcast. 2 more days to go, and we want to remind you that this daily coverage would not be possible without our amazing partners at Bike Tires Direct and SRAM. Their genuine commitment to advancing women's cycling is what allows us to deliver you these daily podcast episodes.
Don't forget to enter today's giveaway on Instagram before tomorrow's stage, and just comment Bike Tires Direct and tag your 2 favorite riding buddies.
Yes, and make sure you are subscribed to our podcast so you do not miss any of our recaps. In the meantime, keep those questions coming in the WhatsApp chat, and thanks for listening. We'll catch you tomorrow for Stage 8.